Okay, so we enter into sourcing your feelings, and we went first to the process of lowering your numbness bar. And now we're going into mapping out your feelings. We're going into this space of creating a map, a territory. And one of the biggest frustrations that we have around this, around not having a map of feelings, is that we don't have clarity about what's happening in this territory. We don't have clarity about what's going on, so we just go from an emotion to another emotion to another emotion in a reactive way without really getting the purpose of it, without really getting to the juice of what's happening inside of there. So we end up with like being depressed for many days, even months, even years. Some people depressed for years, living in a pattern, like in a way that things just keep repeating and repeating and repeating, and we don't know why. And actually, like when this was happening for me, this was just normal life. Like this just repeats. This is how things go. This is reality. And I live in a pattern of I have these feelings, and then it repeats. Uh, the other frustration is that the feelings are so intense, we don't have clarity about them. We don't know what to do with them, so we tend to numb out. So we numb out with food, trying to overeating, watching movies, watching TV, getting distracted, and even like going to the next level of like using drugs to numb out the feelings, to not feel what we're feeling. And this is like essentially like a denying ourselves, denying these feelings. And it goes, another frustration is like when you don't have clarity or a map of your feelings, is that you will project your feelings. You'll say, you made me feel angry, you made me feel bad, these kind of things. And you're like, instead of like using those feelings for your own resources, you're projecting it out to somebody else. You did this to me, etc. So what we really want and what's really possible with mapping out your feelings is that you get clarity. You get clarity about what you are feeling, what's happening in there, and how you can use each one of these different territories to power your life. So this become rocket fuel. Like instead of being something that is confusing and numbing and depressing and pushing down, they become in a way rocket fuel for powering your life purpose, for just like sending you and using this as an evolutionary fuel. You can also use this map, and having this noticing of the map is that you can start noticing how you are feeling, having a bigger noticing how you are feeling, how others are feeling, like with more clarity, with more centeredness, and with more possibility, essentially not being hooked and reacted to each other, but having this noticing like, no, that person is feeling sad, or that person is feeling angry. We also want alignment. We want to feel alignment with our bodies, that you have that you're not fighting against your feelings all the time, and that your feelings are going this way and my mind is going this way and then my body is going this way. That we want all of those to having a map of your feelings. It brings this feelings feel to the what is possible, to really what they're there for, what your feelings are there for, what's your purpose for your feelings. And this creates belonging inside of yourself, that all of a sudden you're not fighting or pushing these feelings away or sending like blocking these feelings, but that you are feeling something and that you can be with it. And this creates a sense of purpose, gives your feelings a purpose. Like your feelings are not a design error, and they are there for a purpose. So by having this map, you also gain access to what the purpose is for your feelings. The moving on to that, the biggest mistakes I see people making, or that people make, is that there is such an overwhelm of information out there. There is like when you enter into like a little bit of this territory, you get this methodology, this other methodology, you get Buddhism, you get what they say in anger about anger in Buddhism, about anger in Christianity, in these different religions, and so and so. So it's like all of these different things coming from different angles, and also that a lot of this information, it comes with manipulation, with actually like dogmatizing or saying that a feeling is good or bad, or at least that's how it gets taken on at first, because there is not a context of radical responsibility, which we are going to explore in another module, in the second module. So it gets taken as this, like, I have to, this is the what's right. It's not right to feel anger. Anger is only for weak people, etc. So it's an overwhelm of information, and it's really hard to sift through all of this information. And the other big mistake is that we carry on beliefs and conditionings that we took on when we were children. Essentially, when we were children, we made some decisions about our feelings. Essentially, we took our beliefs inherited from our parents and we took them on as ours. So essentially we could go on for the rest of our life without even questioning those beliefs and conditioning. A metaphor that I want to give you about this, of the territory that we're going into, because it's the territory of feelings, and is that essentially it's been created a war zone. This is a war zone because our feelings we were told that we were too much, that our feelings were too much, and that we have to calm down, we have to be calm, be nice. And all of this created a whole bunch of landmines and forbidden zones, and you can't be going past their conditions, bunkers, and like there is a war zone out there. So really, for this exploration, I'm going to invite you to put on your explorer hat, or whatever kind of hat that you need to enter into this territory. And we're going to go as explorers into a new territory. Now we have a map that we received, that we're going to go into this place, and this is going to be the map of 4 feelings. You were wondering why this was here for? Of 4 feelings. In this map, so now you have a map, now you have this guideline of what the territory looks like. It's different, where the landmines are and all these other places. And we're going to be following this map as an essential map. For men, this is really good news because it's only four feelings. We work with the distinction of 4 feelings. So you're essentially going to divide your page. You can do this in your own page, and in each corner we're gonna have 1 feeling. So we're gonna start with anger, sadness, fear, and joy. That's the basic of the map. Fear. Okay. And this is the basics of the map. And we're gonna be going into each one of these territories individually by itself. If you can think of the primary colors, you have the green, the yellow, blue, and red. And when you combine these colors together, you get a different color. If you combine red and yellow, you get orange. If you combine blue and yellow, you get green. In the same way, when you combine, for example, anger and sadness, you get a specific kind of emotion. A lot of time, like depression can result from mixing anger, when you're angry about something, and when you're sad about something. So this map starts giving you the clarity of that these are core primary feelings that you can work with. So the other distinction is that each one of these you can feel up to, like, from 0 to 100%. So you can feel 0% anger, or 1% anger, 10% anger, 20% anger, 100% anger, where it's like you're really like, this is like shouting, screaming, like full out, completely angry. Like I'm only going right now to about like 40% angry, but it can go even higher where it's like really full out angry. The same way for full out sadness, like 0 to 100%. So as you're exploring this territory, just notice the intensity of each feeling, and that there is no right or wrong in the way of exploring this territory. Just noticing. You don't have to rush yourself. Just this noticing. So as an experiment for mapping out your feelings for this section, get a piece of paper, put the title in their map of 4 feelings, and divide it in these 4 sections, and then start put one section anger, sadness, fear, and joy, and then you're gonna take 10 minutes. Go slow. Make sure that you're focusing on the sensation. That as you go through these ones, that you focus on the sensation and the intensity, and that you start. Okay, let's start with anger, and you let yourself navigate to that territory where you feel angry, and then you say, and then you start like, the first part is discovering what is your relation like with your anger in that moment. What is your relation like? What are your thoughts about anger? What are your stories about anger? What is anger for? What are your beliefs about anger? For example, you might believe that anger is destructive or is non-peaceful. Anger is violent. So all of these things you will write them down on this page. This is the first step. This is your current map, like where you're currently at in your relation with this map. And you can imagine that your heart is somewhere here in the middle. That this is your heart, because the heart is the center for the emotional body. So this emotional body, this is the map of the emotional body. So you go from your heart. What do you feel angry about, or what is your relationship with anger? What happens for you when you feel angry? Then it cuts relationships, it's troublesome, it's not good for me. Any of these ones, just write them down in your piece of paper, all of these parts. Then you're gonna set up a timer for doing all of these territories, or for doing each one for like 3 minutes. So take about 3 minutes to write down each one of them. So anger, it can be, so I'll write it down in a different color. So it's dangerous, it's violent. Anger is uncivilized, is unpeaceful. And you're going write down all of these decisions that you have about anger. Then after 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, you move on to the next one, and then you start with sadness, and then you say, what is my relationship with sadness? What happens in my heart, in my body, in my feel when I feel sadness, or when I see other people feeling sadness? And you can, for me, it's like come up with, it's weak. You're weak. It's vulnerable. So sadness is weak. Sadness is vulnerable. Is victimy. So being sad is being a victim. Being sad is being it's useless. There is no use to feeling sad. So all of these decisions that you made, or stories or ideas that you have, you put them on this territory. You make a list of it. Then you move on to the next one after 3 to 5 minutes, and then you say fear. What is your relationship with fear? And then fear for me is also weakness, like this part. Weak. It's too much. Also, it's not love. I had this idea for a long time that fear was not love. It's not love. Fear is confusing. So whatever idea that you have about fear, beliefs, you write them down there. Then you move on to the next one. What's your relationship with joy? And then your relationship with joy is it's fun. So it's fun. It's light. If it can be dangerous, because if you laugh too much in a place, like you can be taken you're not serious. So you're not serious. So if joy is also like you're childish. If you're too much in your joy, you're childish. So all of these stories and beliefs that you have about your feelings, you write them down, and this is gonna be become your current map of feelings. And what we're gonna be doing in the next video is going to be creating the new map of feelings. So now that you have this, you have your map. This is your X in the map, and this is really the war zone that you're exploring and exploring. So remember to put your hat on. Remember to see the intensity levels. Like play with these, like 0% joy, 100% joy, and see what comes up from those different places. And we're gonna be exploring in the next few videos about going into the new map of feelings, where you ask yourself, what is anger for? What is the purpose of anger? When you have the lens that anger is not a design error, for example, or feelings are not a design error, what is there then for? What is my anger for? And then you get to make a new map of feelings. So this is gonna become your old map of feelings, and we're gonna create a new map of feelings. So that was it for this video. In this section of mapping out your feelings, once you have this, you'll have more clarity of what's happening here. And it's an exploratory research. It's not gonna, it's gonna take time to start to learn how to feel, and using your feelings in a different ways, using your fear, learning how your fear feels, and what it can bring into your life, how you can use it for creating transformation, or how you can use it to create healing, and how you using for sourcing your life purpose. After we do our mapping out our feelings, we're gonna be moving on to getting into first position, which is the process of centering, grounding, and bubbling. So, but there is a few more steps here in the map of feelings. Just make sure you watch out the next few videos, where we're gonna have a few more distinctions about mapping your feelings and feelings in general. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.